Hey guys, it has been a minute since I posted a video. As you can see, I am back home for those of you that were following me with going to my internship in Colorado, but I'm back in Rhode Island, back in my own garden, and I have a lot of work to do. So there is a lot of weeding and work that I'm gonna be doing throughout the next couple of weeks. But for right now, there's certain beds that I just wanna take care of and clean up, and then we can start planting more stuff. So here's a good example of what I'm working on. This is a flower bed that I have right behind our hot tub over here. These are the edge of night hibiscus, which are growing very well so far. But you can see there's a bunch of like crabgrass and dandelions and other weeds like that growing through. So I'm just gonna be pulling all of these weeds, cleaning this up, and then it'll give more energy to these plants here. And this is the fun part because you guys get to watch me do all the hard work. So why don't we get started? Okay, it is now a few days later. I worked on this project over the course of the weekend, so I just kind of did it in different sections because it was actually a lot of work, to be totally honest. I'm not even completely done either, but I just want to walk you through what these beds look like now that they're cleaned up, and now I can start working on my actual projects for the summer. I'm also going to take this as an opportunity to show you guys how the plants are doing, so it's kind of like a garden tour, but I'm going to go through this stuff pretty quick. So starting at this corner, this is where the garage is, where I park my car, just to give you a point of reference. I cleaned up this bed. The hostas are doing okay, not great. I'm kind of surprised they didn't grow more, but that's okay. We've got hellebores. This is the stuff I got from Great Garden Plants last year, doing very well. So just weeding through this area. Now this section, this is one of the couple of beds that I honestly haven't touched yet. I've got these spilled wine Weigela that I planted like almost around Christmas time. There's 3 of them that didn't survive, so I'm gonna replace those 3, but the rest of them look pretty healthy for the most part. Those look nice. I did clean up this area. We've got the hydrangea, the buddleia. The penstemon did not end up surviving on the other side. This one looks okay, but it's not great. I've got the grass here, the lobelia, and then the sedum didn't end up surviving. But I weeded all of this. Same thing with this bed over here. There's nothing planted here, but I just have mulch here just to keep it nice and clean. And so I don't have to bring the trimmer around the base of this tree. So that section's pretty good. This area was actually really bad when I cleaned this up. I cut back the roses, treated them for Japanese beetles, and then I have the Gara here as well. This Gara did incredible, as you can see. This transplanted very well. It's also like 5 o'clock on a weekday, so we have a lot of traffic from people driving on their way home, so don't mind that. This bed doesn't look too bad. In fact, maybe I should show it to you from this angle. This heuchera is not doing super great, and it's because there's so many tree roots. I don't know if I should just leave the heuchera, maybe replace it with something like hostas. You can see our neighbors have hostas, and they do pretty well. So I'm considering taking those out and doing something. The rest of this is doing pretty decently. It's just a hard area because there's so many roots in this one spot. But walking up this way, I'll also give you a quick tour on the annuals. These pots are looking really nice right now. My mom ended up planting these for me, which was really nice of her, but I ended up picking all this stuff out, and we like kind of did it over FaceTime while I was still in Colorado. So we got Juncus. These are Harmony impatiens. I don't know the specific variety. And then Glacier Ivy, Angel Wing Senecio, Blew My Mind Evolvulus. That one's not blooming a whole lot right now, but I'm sure it'll continue to. Just one white Bacopa. I don't know the specific variety on that. Heuchera here, weeded this area. I'm considering removing these euonymus actually because they keep getting eaten by deer over the winter. So I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do with this spot. I'm not too sure yet. Hydrangea, oh, and then up here I did a ponytail grass. I don't know exactly what this is called, but nice ponytail grass. And then this is a type of Calibrachoa. I don't know the names on any of this stuff because I didn't actually like see the tags myself, so I just can't remember for the life of me. Lavender, again, all this stuff was just weeded, cleaned up. You can see the grasses have done well. The roses, again, they got nipped by Japanese beetles and they came out earlier this year. So I've been using a chemical called imidacloprid. I'll just be honest with you guys, I'm not gonna hide what I do. I try to go as organic as I can, but when it comes to Japanese beetles, if I don't treat them, it just doesn't work. And I'm not here all the time to, hand pick them and everything. So that usually works. Usually the first instar comes out maybe the beginning of July or like second week of July. So I thought I was gonna be home in time. It ended up being a couple weeks earlier than I thought. So everything kind of got nipped. But I think I caught it just in time where these will flush out. I just cut them back, like deadheaded the roses that did bloom, and then it'll flush out another set of blooms. The spruce grew a lot this year. This thing is looking really good now. And then just everything else that's here, weeding around here. This arborvitae has survived pretty well, but had to do a decent amount of weeding. If we walk into the backyard here, this is where things were honestly a little bit more messy. I've got the southern magnolia. This survived over the winter beautifully. I'm having an issue with heuchera where we have rabbits eating the heuchera. So I think I'm gonna have to just abandon a lot of these plants because we have too many rabbits in the yard. They're in the yard all day, every day. It doesn't matter how much I spray them, they will just eat everything. So I literally just have to choose plants that are going to be rabbit resistant. But the magnolia looks beautiful. This area has been full of weeds, and you can still see there's still some weeds that are left. And it's just because there wasn't much mulch here to begin with. and we really didn't do any weeding before I got home, which is fine. But we've got the needle palm on this side, and then the other one, camellia, survived wonderfully. The bananas are kind of weird this year because this one's really small, but this one's really large. They're both still alive, so I think I just need to give that one maybe a little extra bump of fertilizer, and hopefully that'll help. Hibiscus, same thing. If I don't treat them, this is what happens. So they will just, actually, look, there's a caterpillar right there. So they're actually still all over these plants. All right, that might be something I'm gonna treat. Something like Captain Jack's dead bug or 8 or one of those things is a great way to take care of these things. Even BT, actually, because BT gets caterpillars. I think I do have some in a concentrate, so I might end up spraying these afterwards. But yeah, that's what happens if you don't keep a close eye on plants. And these plants will be okay, but if I don't address anything, they'll be kind of skeletonized, and then they just won't have enough energy to actually bloom this season. Okay, moving on. We've got the other stuff. The sedum does well. I'm probably going to be planting a lot more sedum because they do well. And I just want to show you guys this. There's a rabbit hole right there. There's like 5 or 6 of those in the yard. If you have any suggestions on how to get rid of those, that would be wonderful. But for now, I'm just trying to coexist with the rabbits because I don't want to kill them. There's a lot of different things. I mean, we've got Mimonae weigela, Roseanne geranium. This thing was literally like 2 leaves last year because I took it home because it was like growing in a random pot. So it's actually started to get some size. Limelight hydrangea, Serendipity allium, Blue Point cedar, Tiny Quickfire hydrangea, which this is nice because this is starting to bloom now. This is a big area I'm going to have to fill, and I have a couple of thoughts, but I'm not entirely sure. This is the Monarda. So this, I think I'm going to end up getting rid of it because it's growing into this tree and it's way too tall for this spot. And also the canes just fall over whenever we get a thunderstorm, and it keeps losing them every time we get a thunderstorm. So I don't know. Penstemon, this is Midnight Masquerade, but you can see rabbits are starting to eat this as well. So I did spray it with something, but I'm not sure if I'm going to end up just continuing to spray it or what. So hopefully these will make it because I really do like these plants. Great blue lobelia here. More Monarda, again, maybe replacing it with something else. I've got phenomenal lavender. This is a whisper pink catmint. And then this is actually a summer crush endless hydrangea, but because we're so acidic here, it's starting to turn almost blue, as you can see. This is supposed to be like a hot pink, which is kind of funny. And then that's an ornamental oregano. Lots of weeds in this area, but I pulled them out and we'll see how things do. I'm gonna have to just keep up on the weeding for this year, but we'll see how things are. Moving on to this side, there's a lot of plants to go through. Spilled Wine weigela, that is a lime zinger, lime zinger sedum. There's 2 balloon flowers, and this one is not coming back all that well, so I'm not too sure what the case is with this, but I've got this one here too. I've got 2, this is just some species of a perennial geranium, but here's the heuchera that I was talking about. You can see there's nothing left, like there's no leaves. So I'm not even gonna try with these plants. I'll just dig them out or just leave them for now, and then I'll find something else to put in the soup. The weird thing is nothing touched it last year. It's just right now for some reason. I don't remember the name of this. This is a dragon's eye pine, I think. Japanese pine? No, something like that. It's a definitely, I know it's dragon's eye pine. And then this is supposed to be an incredible hydrangea. I got this on clearance at a garden center, and I think it's, I'm not really sure. It's starting to turn pink, so it just seems like it's a little bit different, but I actually really like it. I mean, it looks good right now. This is a seedling of some type of 9-bark, probably Diablo, but I don't know for sure. But that thing was like one little twig last year, so it's obviously growing pretty quick. Miss Piggy Pig Squeak. This is a type of Amsonia. I don't know exactly which. We've got, look at how big these arborvitaes have gotten. So I would say, because that's a 6-foot fence, and they're planted a little bit higher, but I would say they're probably like a good 8 or 9 feet tall, maybe 10, maybe 9. I don't know, something like that. My red twig dogwoods that I started in my class. This one looks really good in particular. And then if we go around this way, this was another bed that I had to weed quite a bit. You can see how beautiful this Carolina Sweetheart Redbud is. Now it is getting eaten up by something. I'm not sure which insect in particular goes after redbuds, but honestly, even with that, it still looks really pretty, as you can see. Definitely my favorite tree that I've planted so far. It's only grown a little bit so far this year, but that's because I planted it like late in the fall, so hardly even had time to root in. So I'm hoping next year that'll really start to put on some size. We've got Steady Eddie viburnums, which these, you can see the blooms on them. It kind of just like continuously has a lot of small blooms like this, but you could see it's still budded up. Again, still dealing with stuff eating just a lot of the leaves, but that's not really a concern because the majority of the plant looks pretty good. Maimone Sunset Weigela, Arizona Sun, maybe Arizona Sunset, Gaillardia. This one's doing pretty well. This is like one of the few perennials they don't really seem to like, so maybe I'll have to find more Gaillardia to plant. I think this is Jimborn Beauty, something of that nature. Fall Cypress, I believe. Another Steady Eddie. Winecraft Black Smokebush. That's a hard thing to say. Winecraft Black. Anyways, this is definitely put on some size. Looks, I just love the texture of that. And then I've got, I transplanted some of these Helene von Stein lamb's ear. Definitely got some space still to fill, but some of this stuff is definitely going to get larger. Those viburnums are supposed to get like 5 feet tall and wide, and this is supposed to get a lot bigger. So it's not as much space as you'd think, but I definitely have a couple of spots around here to fill, and then around underneath that redbud. This bed I didn't really touch. I planted a few things late, like really late in the season. I transplanted some hostas. The one thing I did was I removed a couple of really big weeds, and I just tried to make sure that this 9-bark as well as this 9-bark are doing okay and just don't have any big weeds around them. I had a quick phone call to answer, but back to what I was saying. I wanted to mention the Oridano Nishiki Japanese maple. This seems to be doing pretty well so far. Just a little bit of burning, but it's always going to happen with this since it's pretty heavily variegated. I've got a lot to clean up in this area. I don't really want to keep a lot of this stuff, but this is something where I'd rather focus on this later and focus on filling up and cleaning up the rest of these beds first. There's not too much else besides this. I planted a couple hostas here last year, so these are coming back pretty well. There's not too much else that's changed over in this area. I just have another hosta and 2 astilbe. The problem is that we have a lot of these Rose of Sharons that are coming up as seedlings from the other ones because these are like an older variety. So I'm trying to figure out if it's best to hand pull them, if I should get like a hula hoe, some sort of tool like that that I can use, or what I should do for taking care of this. Besides that, we have Edge of Night hibiscus. These 3 are looking good. This is a lot of weeds to pull. You can see there's not a lot of mulch here too, so I might end up coming in with some more mulch at some point and then just kind of cleaning this area up. More plants, stuff that I haven't planted yet, so just you got a quick glimpse of that. And then these are the Oh So Easy Italian ice roses. Same thing, roses. Roses are tough around here. You have to treat them, otherwise they just don't grow. And the rabbits were eating them last year, so that was another thing that I was trying to work with. But I think I'm getting a better handle on it at this point. And once the roses get to a certain point, the rabbits don't really touch them anymore. These are really beautiful. The Let's Dance Sky View hydrangeas. This year has been an incredible year in New England for big leaf hydrangeas. All of them look really pretty. In fact, let's look at the neighbors. Look at those. Isn't that incredible? I can see them from up on the deck and they're just like out of this world, which is crazy. But these will eventually look like that too. I've got Smart Annuals. This is another type of Calibrachoa. I forget what this one's called, but it's a nice, I like the color of that. And then Little Prince grasses. It's like a really small version of the papyrus. So we've got that on either side. Just those 2 containers flanking the door. Russian sage, and then 2 of them didn't make it, so I actually got 2 more to replace it. And then this umbrella pine, which had a bit of snow damage, so I'm considering trying to pull these branches up and then just holding them like with a string. And then maybe after a couple years, they'll fix themselves and not have to be held anymore, because it really does mess with the shape of it. But I think if I do that, it'll look a lot better. All right, I think that's pretty much it for now. That was kind of like a end of June, beginning of July update. I'm currently filming this recap July 1st. So this is how things are doing so far. everything for the most part is looking pretty good. There's a few things that didn't make it, but you know, that's to be expected, especially when you plant a ton of stuff later on in the season and they don't have as much time to root in. So I'm very pleased. I've definitely got a lot more stuff that I would like to plant and put in the ground before the end of this season. So that's what I'm going to be working on over the next couple of months. Yeah, besides that, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.